Hi, Dani. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you
Um,
for having me. I'm dead excited.
I'm dead excited to have you here. It's lovely to talk to you. The first question that I start off with everybody that comes onto the podcast for this series is the question, Dani, are you the perfect parent?
Oh, do you know what? And I bet, does that elicit that same reaction from
Well,
everybody
I've
that
had
you ask?
laughter, like hysterical laughter.
Yeah.
I've had God no. I've had someone say, yeah, of course.
What it's really interesting because the question, are you the perfect parent, is the one that we torment ourselves with. For
Yeah,
those of us that are parents or caregivers of children, is the one that we torment ourselves with because there's such a high pressure and a high standard that society places on us. And it's so widely varied depending on where you get your information from. So I think for me, the general consensus is that I can't be a perfect parent because believe and maintain that perfection is a fallacy.
yeah,
Do I believe I'm the perfect parent for my children? Yes, because there's only me that could deal with my children in the way that I deal with my children. That said, does that mean that I don't tear my hair out? Does it not mean that I'm riddled with guilt? Does it not mean that, you know, I get it wrong, really, really, really wrong a lot of the time? And then, actually, it's really funny. I was away with my friends on Friday night just gone. And I was having a bit of an evening where I was kind of filling the cup up for myself,
yeah.
putting the oxygen mask on before I
Which we're
went.
rubbish at doing as parents a lot of the time.
Terrible, terrible at doing it. And I was feeling really guilty for being there and like the way that my kids get on, like it's honestly like refereeing velociraptors a
Yeah.
lot of the time. And they're all different ages, and we'll get into it. But I called them, and my youngest was at my sister's house, staying over there, and my two eldest were at home, and they're 17 and 15, respectively.
Yeah.
Now, they normally fight, and they normally spend a lot of time fighting. But actually, I called them unsolicited. So I didn't like, oh, I'm going to ring at whatever time. I called them unsolicited. And you know what? They were sat on the settee. They were holding hands. They were watching a film. One had made the other one the tea. And they were watching, like, one of them had made the compromise on the film they were going to watch. They were watching
Yeah.
10 Things I Hate About You. My son hates it, but my daughter wanted to watch it. And I thought, you know what? They're all right.
Yeah.
They're okay. They're going to be okay.
But do you ever find, I find with mine, that often they are better when I'm not
When
there.
you're not there,
Yeah.
yeah,
They seem to get on much better. As soon as I'm there, then the fighting will start and the arguing. And it's not like that's what my role needs to be. I need to then become the referee.
the referee,
Hmm.
yeah. And I guess the other thing is that there were a lot of things that happened to me as a young parent
Yeah.
and decisions that I made as a young parent that actually now I'm cashing the checks of those in now. They were checks that I wrote when I was a very, very young mum
Mm.
that now and over the past few years I'm experiencing the kind of the repercussions. I already knew that there were some things that were going to happen later down the line, and no matter how I prepared myself for it,
Yeah.
didn't make those things any less difficult when they came up. And I think so, the perfection is a fallacy, but I think being self-aware and I think really engaging as best you can and talking as best you can with your kids as a human being, helping them
Yeah.
realize that you are a human being and that you are fallible is one of the hardest things that you can learn about your parent,
Mm.
but one of the best things that you can learn
Mm.
because then you can treat each other with compassion. And
Well, it's almost like
that's the journey
that
we're on.
repair bit, isn't it? That it's okay for things not to be perfect, but actually we can repair it and it can be okay again.
Yeah.
And that's a really
With the
important
intention.
lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I go. The, I beat myself up a lot. A lot of us do. Am I a good parent? Am I the perfect parent? I
Yeah.
don't think I would like to be considered the perfect
Yeah.
parent. I think it would put too much pressure on us all. And I think we're already under a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think what was really interesting for me, Danny, is because I know like the job that you do and what you do and the speaking that you do.
Mm.
Um, and I was thinking about you and about parents and about, often when we as parents we've got kids with additional needs, is
Yeah.
we have to advocate for them. We have to be able to stand up for our kids, maybe more so than some other parents might need to have kind of maybe more neurotypical kids.
Mhm.
Um, and that can be really hard. Some people are really good at standing up and, like you talk about, taking up space and being confident in that space.
Mhm.
And some parents, that's going to be incredibly hard. And I suppose it was just really interesting for me about that crossover and whether you've taken skills from your professional life into your parenting life.
Well, like it's funny you should say that because my job is I'm an event producer and a public speaking coach. They're my two main jobs. Lots of other hats that I wear, but they're the
Yeah,
two like main things that I do. And it's interesting how I get to meet hundreds, if not thousands, of people from all different types of background, like yourself included, Liz, where I get to learn from some of the most incredible people out in not just the business industry, but the therapy space,
yeah,
the psychology space, the leadership space. So I've been very blessed that I've had lots of exposure to lots of different types of people,
yeah,
members of the trans community, for example,
yeah,
members of the Black community, the wider queer community, so on and so forth.
yeah,
People who are not like me, I've been able to go and learn with. And they've come and learned from me, and I've learned from them. Like being a public speaking coach means I get all of the juice of these incredible people and get to help them craft their messages. But I'm learning as they go. I'm an active learner within this.
yeah,
And what it means is that I have different contexts where I can meet my kids at. So instead of me having to Google things, I've come across stuff in a way that not many other parents will have done in such a
yeah,
broad spectrum. So the things that my kids are exposed to through social media, even like politics and stuff, it's easy for me to have those conversations with the kids because I'm able to be so learned in all of the
mm-mm.
things that I do. I come across that many people.
And that kind of diversity that you've got access to.
Yeah, and it helps them have
Yeah,
access to that level of
yeah,
diversity too. So my eldest is trans, and to have a community of trans people,
yeah,
for him to be in the most beautiful and loving and supportive of way, like around,
yeah,
and learn from, and learn what the difficulties are and learn what the dangers are from people who have lived experience is one of the most beautiful things I've been able to do for for one of my children, is to be able to actually, as part of the community that I've curated, is be able to provide safe people for my son to learn from, instead of me having to go out and find them,
yeah, yeah,
or him having to go and find them and really like be super vulnerable and at risk along the way. So I guess that they're the indirect ways that my
mm.
job has spilled over into my parenting. And my three children couldn't be any more different. My son is very much an introvert. He's very
Yeah,
much he doesn't want his photo taken. He never has done. He has the most beautiful singing voice, wouldn't be caught dead performing in the way
yeah.
that I do. My middle one is very much, she's like very business minded. She's really good at like strategic movements, like most teenagers are, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. But she's very much like me, like that. She wants to be involved in the business. So she's learning about business as she goes.
Okay, amazing.
And my youngest was born for the stage. Like she was born ready.
Yeah.
She wants to be like a part of things. She's been a part of my live streaming since she was very, very young. Um, with
Wow.
like on purpose, like she's wanted
Yeah,
that. I've
yeah,
not kind of thrust it upon her whenever the camera's on. In fact, we're lucky, Liz, that she's not here with us today, because there
yeah.
would have been some point where she'd have popped her little head into to give you a wave and see herself on the camera. So every aspect of my job has helped me to inform and helped
Yeah.
educate them in a way that I don't normally feel natural towards parenting, if I'm perfectly
Yeah.
honest.
And
To
that's
do with my
hard, that isn't it?
kids.
Because we get these kids come along and we kind of have this idea about what parenting might be like. And I think it's based on it can only be based on experience that we've had of our own parents and whether we want to be like them or not like them. And
Mhm.
then it's what we learn along the way and who we come across. And
Yeah.
it sounds like you've had such a huge, diverse,
Wild,
amazing,
chaotic life.
wonderful, yeah, kind of lovely lot of things to get, speak with people to speak with,
Mhm.
that brings it that into your parenting. And we don't always have that. And I think, especially kind of for the community of parents that have got kids with additional needs, is sometimes the
Yeah.
bed can be really, really isolated.
Oh my goodness.
And trying to get access to other people. I mean, some of the work I do is about trying to bring communities together for them to be able to not feel so isolated on their own, because that's how you learn. That's how you've always got a question. And even if you've got more than one,
Mhm.
it's that you said it's never the same, is it? Ever.
Three
Works
wildly
with
different
one.
children, three wildly different. So,
Yeah.
my eldest, is autistic. He has autism and ADHD in a way that you wouldn't necessarily recognize upon meeting him for the
Yeah.
first time, but he misses social cues.
Yeah.
He struggles with his executive function, and all of that. So it's very like his autism is so nuanced,
Yeah.
and he's had to mask in certain ways in certain situations that, you know, he becomes quite difficult. He's such a people pleaser, and he'll say yes to everything but do nothing
Yeah.
because of his
I've
his
got one of those,
executive function
Dani.
difficulties. And people can kind of look at me and go, "Oh, you're not parenting him right. You need to
Yeah.
be stronger with him. You need to
Yeah.
be tougher on him." And I'm like, actually, there are some things that he's got to struggle with from an executive function point of
Yeah.
view that I need to support him with. The guilt comes in where I can't always do that because I'm the
Yeah.
breadwinner and the single parent in my family.
Yeah.
And so with my middle one, again, is there's some sort of ASD going on there, in that she's definitely sort of ADHD, ADD on that side of things. Like all of them are different, like flavors, I guess, of
Yeah.
neurodivergence between us. And it's as hereditary as hair color and eye color, right?
Yeah.
So it was understanding my eldest helped me understand more about myself,
Okay.
and helped me, well, us understanding each other together
Yeah.
helped us feel less alone in the first instance as we were kind of uncovering this. Oh my goodness, like it's glaringly obvious that he's got autism. Now we look at it, we're like, oh, of course. You know, from info dumping from a very, very young
Yeah.
age through to, you know, like demand avoidance, through to all sorts of things, like missing the
Yeah.
social cues is the big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And that's really
all of
hard, isn't it,
those.
when we miss stuff like that? I think
Yeah.
even like from when I'm thinking about my son and the diagnosis for him, I remember a psychologist saying to me, do you think he could be autistic? And I went, no.
No, it's
You know what
inherent
job I
ableism that we
do?
have. Yeah, exactly. I'd have spotted it a
Completely missed
mile
it.
off.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that there's some of this like inherent ableism as well that
Yes.
we all kind of carry with us. Like I I didn't perceive my child to have additional needs. He was speaking from when he was like 10, 11 months old.
Yeah.
He was all of his milestones, he was always kind of
Yeah.
relatively ahead of schedule, but certainly like he was hitting them all. It was just like those more insidious sort of symptoms and
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
neurodivergence manifests. And so when that started to become apparent for him in a way that we couldn't ignore it anymore, he wasn't just quirky. This was
Yeah.
he has got additional needs. I didn't have anywhere to go to find that. But then I found that the conversation was becoming more prevalent in entrepreneurial circles, and that's where I hang out. How interesting that a lot of entrepreneurial people tend
Yeah.
to be neurodivergent. Who knew? And it was in there that I started to find my community as a parent, not just my
Yeah.
community from a business perspective. A lot of the people that I'm connected to have children who do have additional needs, whether they're additional sensory requirements, learning needs, speech needs, whether they
Yeah.
have like
Yeah.
eating assistance that they require. All of this I started to find within my wider community. So I kind of stumbled across the support,
Yeah.
and not many people I've found. I'm flipping heck, aren't I blessed? Not many people come across that, and I think the more places where people can go and find community,
Yeah.
the more easy it is to give yourself and your kids compassion.
Yeah. And that link into the entrepreneurial world for me is new. I've been very much kind of an OT. I've worked on my own for a long time, and I've just started to kind of branch out into the more kind of entrepreneurial stuff. And suddenly I go, oh, there's kind of people like I
We're
get this.
everywhere.
Yeah. Where have they been?
Yeah, and I think that what happens is, what I love about being in the entrepreneurial space for me is that a lot of the square pegs trying to be fit into round holes their entire life has suddenly
Yeah.
found where it is that their community is.
Yeah.
So no wonder there's more of us over here, because we do think differently, because, you know, our requirements may have meant that, or our needs having not been met may have
Yeah.
meant that we haven't been entirely suited to employment.
Yeah.
And you know, what we've done is used our tenacity and used our like resilience and everything that we have from surviving that,
Yeah. Yeah.
thrown that into making businesses. And again, this is not something that is recognized by everyone. And then you have your people that, and your kids, sadly, that fall through the cracks because it's not recognized.
Yeah.
And that I find really sad.
But what's really important, I think, is those, you know, for your kids, is to be able to see you fit into that, find that environment that works for you. And I think
Yeah.
that's the really important bit, is that you're being, neurodiverse and then being in the entrepreneurial world means that the stuff that you would have not been able to do if you've been employed, say, or you suddenly can go with it. And
Yeah.
all those amazing ideas that you've got work there,
Yes.
and you're
Yeah.
allowed to be you rather
Yeah.
than get stuck in this box where you have to get squashed into the 9 to 5 and then must do this and the tick box for that and the that we I think we find very difficult.
Yeah, and the more that the more they see me become more myself,
Yeah,
the more I see them become more themselves. And let's face it, the tween and teenage years are rotten. Like
yeah,
they don't know what their arse from their elbow. Like from a hormonal point of view,
yeah.
like it's difficult at the best of times. So then to add the additional pressure, you've got to be this way, you've got to be that way.
Mhm.
Actually, me being able to say to them, you can create your own community. You don't have to rely
Yeah,
on somebody else. You can be who you are, and you will always attract the right people. Like you'll turn the wrong people off and attract the right people to
yeah,
you.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
more I've seen them step into it, the more I've seen them fall into friendship groups that are actually really lovely. And that's
yeah,
been such a joy to see them own themselves, their personalities, their quirks, all of them. And actually, my house is often, on a Sunday full of lovely, wonderful, quirky teenagers. So hopefully creating the communities of tomorrow as well.
yeah. If you were to if you were to think back about, you talked a bit earlier about, when you were younger as a
Mm.
parent, if you could go back, Danny, and talk to yourself as a younger parent, what bit of advice would you give yourself, or would you not? Was that the process that you needed to
I,
go through?
I think it's a big question. And the reason why it's a big question is when I was a young parent, I was going through a lot.
Mm,
So I was experiencing domestic abuse.
yeah,
I was very quickly after having my second child, um, we were homeless.
yeah,
And I was navigating a lot of things that garnered a lot of shame.
yeah,
Um, I was saying about the checks that I was writing that I was cashing later
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
You know, my kids then grew up like not really knowing their biological fathers
Mhm.
it wasn't through their own volition. Um, it wasn't like it wasn't the childhood that I wanted to give them when I was younger. And I carried a lot of shame for that.
Yeah,
I think if I was to go back to my younger self, I'd be going back to tell her that we make it out.
yeah.
Like we
It's
make
gonna
it
be
out alive. And
okay.
not only do we make it out alive, we thrive. We've got a beautiful house. We've got incredible friends. We've got the most wonderful community. We make money. We live a life that is of our choosing. And we're not too old to enjoy it. It isn't that far away. Hang on. It's just around the corner. Give yourself some compassion and give yourself some grace, is the only thing I could tell that girl,
Yeah,
because whenever anybody's going through something like that, you can't tell them.
no,
Like, it's like if you know anybody that's going through
yeah,
domestic abuse or addiction or whatever it is, it's them that have got to get themselves
mm,
out of it. I'd like to go back to her and say, we do, we
yeah,
do. Keep
yeah,
hold of it. Keep hold of hope on the days when when I felt hopeless. I'd have loved to have gone back and give her a cuddle and gone, we
yeah.
make it. We're good. We good. Like, we're better than good.
Yeah, more than good.
Yeah, absolutely. And your kids are beautiful and they're gonna
Yeah.
be all right and it's gonna be hard. And tell me a parent who don't find it hard.
This is it. And I think it's about being kind to our former self, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost is being able to go back and go, I did the best with what I had at the time,
Yeah.
and that was okay. I did my
Yeah.
best. And like you say, being able to say, go back and say, we make it through. It's going to be
Yeah.
okay.
And that for me gets me through now. So
Yeah.
when difficult things happen, now I know how I feel about past Dani. I
Yeah.
don't feel ashamed of her.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of love for her and I feel like I want to look after her. And I'm really grateful because she made the decisions that got me here.
Yeah.
And so I also know that if I look at Dani in 20 years' time, if
Yeah.
I love past me like that now, I know how much future Dani's going to love me now.
Yeah.
And actually, instead of seeking external validation from other people now, the only person I'm seeking validation from is the me that I'm creating a
Yeah.
life for right now.
Yeah.
And is she going to look back and go, I'm going to give you grace and compassion, but also thank you. Look at the
Yeah.
life that you've created.
Yeah.
Look at what I get to live because you experienced that. And it's a really interesting concept and one that I have to check in with regularly, especially when I'm
I was
getting
going to
down on
say to
myself.
you, how easy is that? Do you find, because I kind of from my personal experience, I know that I'll flip back really quickly to old ways and old
Yeah.
self-talk and negative self-talk.
Mhm.
And that guilt gremlin that kind of sits in your shoulder, kind of in your ear.
Yeah.
And it's hard to stay sometimes on that path of being kind to ourselves. And as
Yeah.
parents, generally, I think we give ourselves a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, as people, you
Yeah,
know, even if we
yeah,
take, I mean, I know we're talking about parenting today in the context of this conversation,
yeah,
but even if we just look at ourselves as, you know, as humans, as human beings, as people who are living and loving in the world,
yeah,
like the biggest thing we can do with ourselves is give ourselves grace and compassion and decide, you know, when we know better, we do better.
yes,
So being on this journey to know better and understand ourselves better and understand our kids better and understand the world around us better allows us to make better decisions. For those people that tune in to this
mm,
podcast, Liz, are people that are seeking connection
yes,
and looking for ways to grant themselves compassion, because then they know, and then they know better, and then they can go and do better and apply maybe some of the things that even we speak about today
yeah.
to their everyday life. And this being a part of this like snowball of growth and kindness to ourselves is that right now in the world that's pretty dark is the thing that I always hold on to.
And that's what I love about what you do, Danny, is it is such a positive thing. And it is about, your slogan when you talk about, when we do well, when
We
everyone
all
does
do well
well.
when we all
Yeah.
do well.
I
Yeah.
love that. And, I think, as a parent, when I was younger, I always just felt very self-conscious that I was being judged by other parents. And I think a lot of the time now, when I look back, probably those parents were looking at me thinking, oh my God, I've been there. I know
Yeah.
what that feels
I
like.
see you.
But your
Yeah.
first thing is you go, oh my God, they think I'm a terrible parent.
Right.
And that's
Right.
that's really hard. And I love the fact that's, what you stand for with what you do is about everybody coming together. And it's not about stepping on top of people to get to where you need.
No,
Actually,
it
it's
takes a
about taking
village to
everyone
do
with
all of it.
you.
It
Yeah.
takes a village to do all of it. It takes a village to raise a family. It takes a village, and that's really difficult. Like as a single parent,
Yeah.
to to accept that, to ask for help or to seek community or
Really
to
hard
seek
that, isn't it? The
really
asking for
is.
help.
Yeah, to allow a village,
Yeah.
it's to like, where is the village? Because sometimes it can be really isolating. And especially if you've got kids that have additional requirements as well, that
Yeah.
have additional needs,
Yeah.
it can feel, I mean, it can feel really isolating because nobody else couldn't possibly understand,
Mm.
especially if you've got friends that you've had for a long, long time. And then you all start
Mm.
having babies. This happened within, our own friendship group, mine and my sister's friendship group, that, everyone had started having kind of babies around the same time. And one of those children ended up having severe like learning and additional needs. And I remember our friend, like, I can see it difficult for her when she comes out
Mm.
for drinks with us now, because our lives are just, her day to day looks
So
so
different.
different from ours. And it's all we can do to just say, we're here. We can't understand. We don't have your lived
Mm.
experience,
Mm.
but we're here. What can we do? Can we send you a meal? Can we,
Yeah.
like, when you've got your night of respite, can we come round and just sit? We'll not ask you to go anywhere. Don't ask you to spend any energy. Like, we'll bring the takeaway, we'll bring the
Yeah.
wine,
Yeah.
but your respite is to stop. Is not to
Yeah.
then feel like you've then got to go on a date with your husband, or, oh, no, you've got to do all these things because
Mm.
you've got this respite. So yeah, it's, where's your village?
Yeah.
Find it or create it.
Yeah, it's so important that, isn't it? And being able to say and accept it. And like you, I'm a single parent too.
Mm.
And, people would offer me help and I'd be, no, I would feel bad about saying yes and would back away from it. And then they would stop asking. And then you feel even more isolated.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
that,
hard.
absolutely. It's one thing I actually said to my friends, when I was really going through, when the kids were young and I was homeless and all of this,
Yeah.
I could feel them stop asking me to things. And I used to say, always ask me. I'll feel bad about saying no, but please always ask me, because then at least I know I'm invited.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to know that I'm invited,
Yeah.
that you still think of me, that you
Yeah.
still welcome me into your space. I might not always be able to make it. And even now, and like my business is at a point where I'm either at home with my children or I'm away on business. There's no in
Yeah.
between. It's very difficult for me to say yes to anything else.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
looks like I'm being very social, but I'm at events, like networking my business. I'm at events meeting sponsors. I'm at events attending awards. So all of this is business. It's not like cup filling up time with my best
No.
mates. Um, And it's easy to stop being invited to stuff. But I still say, even now when I'm really, really busy, keep inviting me, because one day I'll have some free time to come to.
And we still need the invites, don't we? And that's what
Yeah.
makes you feel nice. And people are still there and they're still thinking about you. And it's really important to know people are still thinking about you and you're
Yeah,
in
it
their
does.
thoughts, and that they're not trying to fix you.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
need to be
absolutely.
fixed. I just, like you said, exactly that. Just can I come up, can I drop you a meal? Can I make you a cup of tea? What do you need me to do? But actually I don't need to fix you or your family. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with you.
No.
We just
You're
we just
do what
love
you
you.
need to do. Yeah. And sometimes, and my sister's brilliant at this, like little random acts of kindness that you can do for the
Yeah.
people that are closest to you, that don't have anything attached, like a birthday or a Christmas or
Yeah,
something
yeah, yeah.
attached to it. And I'm so much better than my friends have come to realize I'm so much better at that than I am at structured connection. So
Yeah.
I'll forget your birthday. I'm really sorry. I love you. I'll forget your birthday. But some mid-March sometime, I might see this thing on the internet and send it to your house because I've seen it and I've thought of you.
Yeah.
That's your birthday present. Your birthday might be
Yeah.
in October, but whatever. Love me.
Yeah. But those bits I think are so important, because
Mm.
I just think birthday presents, yeah, they come and go.
Yeah.
But when you're in somebody's thoughts, that I think makes a big difference when you're a parent and you're feeling isolated or on your own, is that that's something that somebody can do really easily. Drop you a text or
Yeah.
send you a bunch of flowers, something like that, that you're just in somebody else's thoughts.
Yeah.
It's a really
Absolutely.
nice feeling. Okay. Last one, and we probably kind of touched on it anyway, Dani, but if you could give a tip out there to another parent, so a parent maybe that's listening and is really struggling at the moment and finding life hard for whatever reason, it doesn't have to be they've got kids with additional needs, it could be for whatever reason and wherever
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
are. What would be your top tip for them?
So I'd be doing two things.
Yeah,
One, I would be reminding myself of the incredible things about me. So I would, with a brew, I love a Sunday morning is my favourite time. Can I just
yeah,
say, like, just Sunday, there's something about a Sunday morning, and it's not the song, there's something about a Sunday morning. I always find it feels a certain way. Now, it might not be the same for everyone. For me, it's a Sunday morning. It's a reflective time. Kids tend to have a little lie-in on a Sunday, or they're off out and doing whatever it is that they're doing. And it tends to be the time that I find myself on my own, which is a rarity. And so I'll make myself a brew, and I find it difficult to reflect on the good things that I do, and there are lots.
yeah,
Like, I'm busy, and I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
find it really hard to give myself the snaps and the grace and the praise and the pat on the head for all the things that I've done that are dead good, even in the week. But if someone's struggling at the minute, find the things that you've done over the past week that you've achieved. And that
Yeah,
might just be you got your kids to school on time every
yeah, yeah,
single day
yeah,
this week, because there'll be someone out there that haven't been able to do that.
yeah,
Or you managed to brush your teeth 5 days out of the 7. Because for
yeah.
me, my self care is the first thing to go in the bin when I'm
Okay.
struggling.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'll not brush my hair, or I'll forget to brush my teeth, or I'll not shower as much, or, the kids will still have everything that they need, but it'll be me
For
that goes
you.
first. Like,
Yeah.
I've not brushed my teeth for a couple of days. Am I okay? Probably not. All right, then I need to have a think about, where I'm at.
So they're kind of almost like your warning signs for you that things aren't kind of great at the
Yeah.
moment. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll feel myself get quiet and less likely to pick a phone up to a friend when
Okay.
I'm struggling, because I won't want to be a burden. And I think that, when I speak to my bestest of friends, they'll
Yeah.
always say to me, you can always pick up the phone to me. And I think, at the 3 o'clock in the morning, or the 1 o'clock in the morning, or the 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning, it's always a morning, or it's in the middle of the night. That friend hasn't said that because they don't mean it.
Yeah.
And I think trust those people that have said that to you and you're struggling, that's the time. And I don't think it really matters. As long as that person has said, you can pick up the phone to me anytime,
Mm,
cash that check.
mm.
They've said it to you for a reason. They've not said it because they don't mean it. I never say that when I
Yeah.
don't mean it. Oh, you can ring me anytime. I certainly don't say that to anybody, just everybody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Otherwise, I'd have all sorts of people calling me all times.
I've done it.
Like, look, Liz all of a sudden ringing me at 11 o'clock
Yeah.
on a Friday night, bottle
You
of
said I
wine
could
in.
call
We all, you
Danny.
said I could call anytime. But the people that really say that to you
Yeah.
should be saying that unless you mean it. So please trust those people that have said that to you. Lean in on that.
Mm.
Look at what you've achieved in the week and give yourself a little treat for doing it. And even if
Yeah.
it's like a cheeky bar of chocolate, or, go and get yourself one of them sheet masks from the Superdrug if you can, or
Yeah.
just give yourself some space in the week that's just for you, even if it's lock yourself in the toilet to have a wee. Like, everyone leave me alone a minute. I'm going for a wee.
That's when the notes come under the door, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, mum's not here right now. Please leave a message.
Yeah.
I find it really audacious that I find this particularly for men. I'm sorry if this sounds sexist. I'm just going to say it. But my husband, when we were together, would take himself off for a poo and he would take 45 minutes. I wouldn't even know what to do sat on the toilet for 45 minutes. But do you know what it was? He owned that time. No one bothered
Yeah.
him. Nobody bothered him.
You know what my people do? They'd pick the lock.
Yeah, like, look.
I'd be in.
Yeah. But really nobody did bother him and
Yeah.
like allowing yourself that this is 45 minutes that I'm going to give
It's
myself.
so important, that, isn't it? Having a bit of time to you and having a sense of you rather than just being mum.
Not even doing
all the
anything on the
time.
toilet seat's down. I'm not
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
anything. I'm just sat having a sit down. But yeah, for people that are struggling right now, remember who has said to you, you can call me anytime. They've said that for a reason. Call them. Call them. Use that. They've given you a lifeline there. And I'd hazard to say that there are very few people out there who've got that, who haven't got that, that person.
Yeah.
It's okay to put your hand up and say, I'm struggling.
I think it also helps them and your friendship, isn't it? That they can actually, if we're so independent all the time, that's really hard to be a friend to.
Yeah. My best friend gets really angry. She gets angry at me because I'm not unlovable. Like I'm very lovable.
Yeah.
But she goes, you're difficult to love sometimes. And she wants to, she wants to come and help.
You won't take it.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, I can do it on my own. And she just sees the barriers going up because I'm trying to prove to myself that I can do it all on my own. And then I have to remember, she wants to help.
Yeah.
I'm helping serve our friendship by allowing it.
Yeah.
For the people that want to help you, let them.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, those sound like great ones, Dani. What you've got lots of stuff going on at the moment. You're really busy, and I know I'm going to wrap you up so you can go off and do all the hundreds of things that you've got going on. But is there anything you wanted to kind of let people know about? Especially, as we know, there's probably quite a lot of maybe might not know neurodivergent people listening. Probably going to be, could be entrepreneurial as well.
Yeah.
What kind of things are you offering at the moment, Dani?
So there's a couple of ways that you can come and kind of get involved in what we call the IATQB community. It stands for I Am the Queen Bee, but it's a completely non-gendered space where the premise of the community is safe spaces to have conversations that matter, that success is safe, and we all do well when we all do well. So I have a free Facebook group called the IATQB Hive, but you can follow me across the socials at the Queen Bee Dani for some inspiration. If you're over on Instagram, it's a really cool place just to kind of go and get your daily dose of Dani to kind of lift you up on the day-to-day if you are interested in sort of entrepreneurialism.
And we'll put all your links. You'll put all the links in there as well so people can find you.
Yeah, but sometimes it's just fun to come and watch my little brand of batshittery happening over on the Instagram. You don't have to be a business owner to come and get involved. We do centre ourselves in personal development, and that's
the biggest thing I think I've picked up from you guys as well, is that around that it's not just been about being a public speaker. There's stuff just about kind of your own well-being and your own mental health and
absolutely
being out there in the world. And
look, we're human beings doing life, aren't we? And I think that business is a very small part of that. Actually, if our personal development is the most important development we can ever participate in, and not enough people do it and do it with self-awareness. So it's a great place to start, at the Queen Bee Dani on Instagram, to come and just dip your toe in.
Perfect. We'll put all those links down there, Dani. Make sure people can find you. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to come and talk with us today. I really appreciate it.
So welcome.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Untypical OT Talks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Whether you're walking the dog, folding laundry, or hiding in the toilet for 5 minutes apiece, and there's no judgment here, I'm glad you chose to spend your time with me today. If you're a parent or a carer of a child with additional needs and you're feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, or just like you need a bit of backup, I've got you. And I'm here to help you find a way through the trickier stuff, like behaviour and those moments when you feel like you might just run out of steam, so you can be the parent you want to be and take care of yourself too. Want to connect? You'll find me over on all the social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, where I share more tips, resources, and real talk. And hey, if this episode made you laugh, nod along, or feel a little less alone, why not buy me a coffee? Just click the link in the show notes. It's a small way to show your support and keep this podcast going. Take care of yourself today. You're doing an amazing job. Until next time, let's keep getting curious together.